ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Wishing you all a very happy Gita Jayanti. Hopefully you were able to hear or read something from Bhagavad Gita. If not, this is at least one thing we can do today. And I'm hoping if we have time, if you all have time later today, maybe around 7 or whatever time you want, we can maybe recite 1 or 2 chapters also. So yesterday we were discussing about various processes or practices of yoga mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. So I'll just very quickly go through just a few things that I mentioned. So often people don't want to read any scriptures or religious books because they think that this is only religious book and this will not help me very tangibly or practically in my current modern life. This has no relevance in my modern life. So we had discussed that how Bhagavad Gita is actually not really just a religious book. It's actually a very scientific book. And it gives you the science of spirit, science of matter, the whole, the science of life, this universe, this creation, who is our origin, what is our destination, what is our purpose while we are here, how we should conduct in this life, how we should live in this body, how we should live in this world, how does the world control us, what is our bondage in this world, how we should act here, what should be the intention behind the action, all those things, what does really success mean in this world, because we all want to be successful. So what does success mean? So many things Bhagavad Gita teaches. And actually a lot of great leaders, scientists, philosophers, you can see Albert Einstein's picture on the screen, who have actually derived motivation from Bhagavad Gita in conducting their life. So they were leading their life on the principles of Bhagavad Gita. And so it's not just a religious book. It's not something that you have to you read when you're very old, when you're a renunciate, or you have to be a Hindu, you have to be born in India. And none of those considerations exist when we are talking about Bhagavad Gita. It's a scientific book. It's needed. It's actually a must read for everyone. You know how there is a must read book, like New York Times comes up with the must read books of 2024. So this is that must read book that has been existing since more than 5,000 years back. And Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita that this knowledge is eternal. I gave this knowledge to Sun God. So in chapter 4, titled Transcendental Knowledge, he says that I gave this whole knowledge actually to Sun God. So this knowledge is existent since time immemorial. This knowledge was initially given to Lord Brahma, even before Sun God, to Lord Brahma at the beginning of the creation. So this knowledge has been coming down, and every time there is a decline in this knowledge, when people go away from the principles of Bhagavad Gita, then this is re-established over and over. It is re-established by either Lord himself or by Lord's, by his representatives, his devotees. And so in our life, actually, we have to invoke this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita on a daily basis, multiple times. And that's why every year on Gita Jayanti, not only on Gita Jayanti, on many occasions, we continue to revive this knowledge. Actually, Nagarchand Prabhu reads a few verses every morning with the kids. They're reading the purports and the verses of Bhagavad Gita every morning. People are constantly trying to memorize the verses of Bhagavad Gita so the words of Krishna can stay with us at all times we can remember Krishna through his own words. Because what can you offer to the Lord? What can you offer to Ganga? Ganga में गंगा जल ही डालते हैं. Similarly, Krishna ko what can you offer? You can offer his own words to him. So by memorizing these verses, by reading his words, by applying them in your life, by trying to conduct your life according to the principles of Bhagavad Gita, actually, we can perfect our life, achieve success, and make this world a better place to live. So a lot of great philosophers and people have actually lived their life according to this. We also discussed that how many books of self-development these days, like motivational speakers or influencers, a lot of these motivational books, they come from, they have taken principles from Bhagavad Gita. All these books that you see on the screen, these are the books that people have read over last few years to increase their self-worth, to get the topmost potential of their life. And so to increase their potential, to improve their character, to improve their conduct, to improve their qualities, people read these books to get the best value out of this life, get the best value out of limited time that we have in this body. People read these books, how to develop best habits possible. And so how to use the time wisely, the power of now, how to live mindfully, mind control. All these things are written in these books, and they actually come from the principles of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna was the original, motivational speaker, because when Arjuna was so depressed, he was in so much doubt and confusion, he could not make a decision on whether to fight or not. That's when Krishna motivated him. He showed him his purpose in life, that this body that has been given to you, this warrior body, its purpose is to establish righteous rule on earth. And right now, there is the people that are ruling are not righteous. These are not representatives of the Lord. These are very aggressive, violent people who are destroying the laws of God. So you cannot let these type of people rule, because as a warrior, it's your duty to establish proper rule, proper kingdom on this earth. So if you do not follow, if you do not perform, or if you do not fight in this war, then actually you will fail the purpose of this body that has been given to you. So many things. So in this way, we can also, whatever situation we are in, Bhagavad Gita actually has all the answers, any answer that you're looking for. It tells you how to think in various situations, how to make a decision. If you are in a sticky situation, in a tricky situation, Bhagavad Gita actually gives you all the principles, all the tools that you need to make the right decision in life. So, and this is a journey that Bhagavad Gita takes us on. It starts with Arjuna's confusion, where he was doubtful, he was insecure, he was not sure of this decision that they have made to fight. He thought it was a bad idea. We should not have decided on this war. It was a bad idea. So he was ready to give up and either walk away from the battlefield or allow himself to be killed on the battlefield, because he thought this was not the correct way to go about things. So he was doubtful, he was insecure, he suddenly lacked confidence and clarity, and so he was in this crisis mode. And he was feeling depressed. He put his gun deep down. He was sweating. His hands were shaking, and there were goosebumps on his body. And he felt this depression come upon him, and he gave up his Gandhi and just sat down on the chariot and said, Krishna, I cannot fight this war. So actually you will see in Bhagavad Gita, there is that verse in the first chapter where he sits down and he says, Krishna, I cannot fight. I will not fight. So then from that situation, Bhagavad Gita takes us on a journey where Krishna gives him the correct wisdom, and he does not tell him exactly, he gives him all the principles. He starts from the basics. He starts from who you are, why you need to do this. He tells him what is this world, what is your purpose in this world. You're not this body. So you're just looking at this situation from a very tunnel vision, where you think that you're just going to kill your bodily relatives, and that's all you're thinking. But he broadens Arjuna's vision so that Arjun can see everything, the whole situation, from not a narrow perspective, but from a very high vantage point, so that he can he can realize that this leaving this war will be a great mistake. So then, so in the end, actually, in the last chapter, in 18th chapter, Arjun has this awakening. He sees everything with clarity. He understands what his purpose is, and he has this. His vision is clear now. He knows what is his purpose in this body is, and he is again with vigor, with energy. He's ready to fight. So he feels deeply happy, even though he's going to engage in this massacre, this warfare where so many people will be killed, but he knows that he's acting according to the will of the Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord, he knows the best. So Arjun finally makes this decision that fighting in this war would be the best thing to do. So he goes from this breakdown to breakthrough. And so this is this situation will come for us many a time, sometimes many times in a day, where we are dealing with difficulties, difficult people, or difficult situations. We don't know what to do, we don't know what to say or how to behave. And so Bhagavad Gita gives us all those tools on how to behave, what to say, how to control our mind, how to what is our purpose in life. All those principles are given in Bhagavad Gita. So it's a really wonderful book. It's an incredible book. I think everyone should read it, not once but many times. Uh, and every time you read, you will go deeper into the knowledge. Every next time that you read, you will feel, oh, how come I missed this point before? So it gives you this, very elevated vantage point from which when you see your life, it will appear completely different compared to pre-Bhagavad Gita phase. So pre-Bhagavad Gita and post-Bhagavad Gita phase, it's a very vast difference, because now you are examining your life through the lens of Bhagavad Gita. So all the situations, all the problems, all the relationships and people, everything, the whole world, this life, this universe, this creation, you're able to see through the lens of Bhagavad Gita. So now you see the reality, but before you were in illusion. So from illusion, this is a journey from darkness to light, from illusion to knowledge. So you can see everything clearly. And this is a quote from Socrates. He said, you remember that Socrates was a very wonderful Greek philosopher. He said that unexamined life is not worth living. So you are able to examine your life through this lens of Bhagavad Gita and get clarity on why you are here. So we don't waste this very precious human life. This is a verse from Gita Mahatmya that we just read. Actually, this is the last verse, 7th verse of Gita Mahatmya. Ekam Shastram. This is the only Shastra that one needs to read, because Bhagavad Gita is considered the essence of all Vedic knowledge. It is the conclusions, the summum bonum of all Vedic knowledge. So since we cannot read all the Vedas, we cannot read all these Upanishads, Puranas. We don't have time for that. We don't have brain power for that. So if we had to read just the conclusion, the essence of it, then this is the only Shastra to read. This is Bhagavad Gita. And so he says, Ekam Shastram. Which Shastra? Devaki Putra Gitam. The Geet sung by Devaki Putra. Bhagvad Gita. Bhag means Bhagwan. Vad means song, or sorry, Vad means spoken or sung, and Geet means song. So the song sung by Bhagwan, the song of Lord, the song of God. So that's Devaki Putra Gitam. That's the only Shastra one needs to read. Eko Devo. There is only one Lord. Who is that Lord? Devaki Putra. Eko Mantras. There is only one mantra one needs to chant. Tasya Namani Yani. Tasya Namani means his names. There is only one mantra we need to chant. That is his names. Karmapi ekam. We need to do only one action. What is his action? What is that action we need to do? Tasya devasya seva. That Lord's service. I'm just reviewing quickly, just for the benefit of people, devotees that were not here yesterday. And then we'll come to our current page where we were on. So just grossly again, Bhagavad Gita is divided into 5 topics. There are 5 main topics, okay? So Bhagavad Gita tells us who we are. This is where Krishna starts Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2. He tells Arjuna who you are, that you are not this body. You are looking at everything through a bodily point of view, but you're not this body. So that's not the right understanding. So if you're looking at a situation from bodily point of view, that will always be incorrect understanding, because you're not this body. You only falsely believe that you're body. You are the soul. So he gives knowledge of the soul. Soul is spiritual, whereas body is matter. So he gives him knowledge about soul. Then he gives him knowledge about activity or action through that body. So we have been given this body to perform certain actions. And what actions should we do? What should be the motivation behind that action? What should be the um, you know inclination or intention behind that action? That's what Krishna teaches in karma. So he says, don't just perform karma, actually perform karma yoga. Karma yoga is different from karma. So he teaches that knowledge in chapter second a little bit, but mostly in chapter third and 5. Then he also talks about world, this world that we live in. So we live in this body, and with this body, we live in this world, this prakriti. So what is this world made of? What is the purpose of this world? What are the factors that are existing, the energies that are existing in this world that control us? So he talks about world, the 3 modes of material nature. He talks about how 3 modes of material nature in this world control different people so that they act differently. Then he talks about time factor or kal, okay? That how we are stuck in this cycle of birth and death. And this whole world is stuck in a cycle of creation and annihilation. And how we are also not only stuck in a cycle of birth and death, we are stuck in a cycle of birth and death through different species. So we go up and down the different species based on our actions. All these things are interlinked. But time is what determines our it keeps us bonded in different species and different yugas come and go. Even Brahmaji is not spared from time factor. Even Brahmaji also has a certain lifespan, and Krishna goes over the lifespan of Brahmaji, that even Brahmaji is stuck in this cycle of birth and death because of the time factor. And everyone is stuck in this cycle of birth and death from Brahmalok to the lowest planet. So in this way, this is time factor. And the last is, he talks about Bhagwan. He talks about himself. He talks about the supreme absolute truth or Ishwar, divinity. So those are the 5 main topics. This, you can say the 6th, you can call it the 6th topic, is the connection between the soul. So if you see in this chart that I have up on the screen, there is a connection between soul and divinity. That connection, when one tries to establish the connection with divinity, with Supreme Lord, that connection is called yoga. So yoga means to connect to the Supreme Lord through a process. And we discussed that there are 3 main yogas mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. There are 3 types of yogas mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. One is Karma Yoga, second is Dhyan Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, and the third is Bhakti Yoga. These are the 3 yogas mentioned. And Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, which are broadly divided into 3 sets. First 6 chapters deal with Karma Yoga, middle 6 chapters deal with Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapters deal most with Jnana Yoga. So Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga I'm not going to touch upon, because Jnana Yoga is really very difficult process, not recommended for us. And at the very end of the session today, I'll tell you what Jnana Yoga comprises of and what all these other yoga comprise of. But most important for us is actually Bhakti Yoga. Yesterday, we discussed about Karma Yoga. So I'll just take a pause here and let's hear from devotees that were here yesterday or that are joining today. Are there, if you were able to hear the class from yesterday, are there any questions about Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Dhyan Yoga that we discussed? Any points that you want to share? Can anyone summarize Karma Yoga for other people in a few lines? Sheetal Mataji, Rekha Mataji.
I can try, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
So, Karma Yoga is to connect with the Lord through our activities. Like, we should we should do our actions in whatever field we are in, good in, and not try to act in different activities. But anyway, whatever activities we do it by keeping Lord Krishna in the center. And then we let go of the results or something, but we do our activities with full focus, with proper intention, with love and devotion. And then let Krishna decide or let Krishna control our results. That's what
Yes,
I understand.
very bold. That's perfect, Mataji. Yeah. So karma. So we've been given this body to perform an action, right? To perform various. So something to understand. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 that soul is very active. Okay, soul is not passive, and soul acts through the body. So it's very difficult for soul to not do anything. We are very active. Okay, soul is very active. Jiva is very active. It acts through that body. So कुछ ना कुछ action तो soul करेगी ही through that body. Action is needed. Okay. Now, when you use that action to connect to the Lord, then that connection is called karma yoga. Okay, when you use your action or karma to connect to the Lord, it becomes karma yoga. So like you just mentioned, intention behind that karma should be to please the Lord, to satisfy the Lord, to work in sacrifice and love and devotion. Okay, we should understand our position that we are a servant of the Lord. So we should work as an instrument of the Lord according to his desires. So why do we do something? We do something to fulfill a desire. So for the first thing is desire. That desire should also be dovetailed with Krishna's desire. We should do his will. We should become an instrument in the service of the Lord. Okay, so we should align our desires with him. We should know our position as a servant, so we should work as an instrument to make his desire be fulfilled. And we should not worry about the outcome so much, okay, because outcome is not only dependent on us. There are many complex dynamic factors that are responsible for a good or a bad outcome. So if so, whether good outcome happens or bad outcome happens, despite all your efforts, that was decided by Krishna. That was his will. So you should leave it up to him. So outcome is not in your hands. The process is in your hands. So you should enjoy the process. You should give your very best to the process. You should be wholeheartedly engaged in the process of action, not really just worried about the outcome. So in that regard, we had discussed basically 4 points. One was that we should act as a servant of the Lord. We should know our position. We should act as his instrument, meaning we should just enable his desires to be fulfilled. Okay. And thirdly, there should always be an attitude of gratitude while performing an action. There should always be a feeling of sacrifice, feeling of love. Everything should be done for sacrifice. Okay. And the last point we discussed was that success is not an outcome, it is in the process. So in this world, we have this definition of success where we think that only if we had a good outcome to our effort, then it is successful. So anybody that whose outcome was not good, even though they gave their very best, they gave their 100%, if their outcome was not good, then they are not considered successful in this world. That's the definition of success as dictated by this material world. But actually, the success, Krishna says, is not an outcome. It is in doing your very best. It's not in being the best, but in doing your very best. Did you enjoy the process? Did you enjoy the work that you were doing? Because outcome is not really up to you. It's controlled by many factors. So that is what we discussed about Karma Yoga. And then who can quickly summarize either Ashtang Yoga or Dhyan Yoga in like few lines? Whoever was here yesterday, Nagarjun
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Sure.
So in Ashtanga Yoga, there are certain, there are 8 parts to it, yam niyam and so on. And by doing those physical postures or following those processes, pranayam and all that, the goal when we say Ashtanga Yoga is by those processes to connect to Krishna. So as long as after doing those processes, we can focus on Krishna and are not distracted, then or we are connecting to the Lord by that process, then that is truly Ashtanga yoga. But it is not recommended during this age, because our lifetime is not as long, and those yogic postures and all those things are not feasible for long time with our current everything that is going on in Kali Yuga. And plus, nowadays the yoga, the so-called yoga, is misinterpreted by just as bodily postures or acrobatics, like Prabhupada says sometimes. And it is not the goal of the yoga, is not to connect to the Supreme, and it's just for physical activity or fitness, which is not the goal. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you, Nagarjun Prabhu. So Ashtanga Yoga has these 8 limbs you can see on the screen. These 8 aspects of Ashtanga Yoga through your body postures, breathing exercises, and then mind control or meditation. But yes, like he said, it's very hard to connect to the Lord through these processes in this age. Breathing exercises is very difficult. Pranayam or bodily postures, we can do these for fitness, which is how it is being it has become perverted. Yoga practices have become perverted in such a way that it is not used anymore to connect with the Lord. It is just used for bodily fitness, which is okay, but then people go out and enjoy with that body and just degrade that body. So that's not the purpose. When people used to do Ashtanga Yoga in other ages, the goal was to connect with the Lord, not to use the body for sense gratification and degradation. So right now, the way we are using it, instead of purifying ourselves, we are actually contaminating and degrading ourselves even more. So we do these so that we can enjoy, we can increase the capacity of enjoyment with this body, because body has a very limited capacity to enjoy the matter, right? So by doing these postures, people try to improve their fitness in such a way that they can enjoy this world more. So we increase the capacity of enjoying, basically. And so the purpose is not to connect with the Lord anymore. As for Dhyan Yoga, which is a part of Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyan means to sit in meditation, to control the mind. So with that, practically, we discussed a few points that we should identify the mind as a separate identity. Krishna says that you should control the mind, you should train the mind. A controlled mind will be your friend, and an uncontrolled mind will actually be your enemy. It will turn against you. So mind is always trying to distract us, and it will very quickly distract you and engage you in this world, keep you attracted and absorbed in this world unless you control this mind. Mind only wants to gratify the senses. So mind is so strong that it will even cloud your intelligence. And so you have to train the mind. So the first thing is to identify mind as separate from yourself. So we discussed this practice yesterday, that you can, some of you who like to, practice journaling, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we should detach from the mind. So some people that like to do journaling, you can write in your journal that my mind today is asking me to be upset with such and such person because they did this to me. My mind is anxious today because this happened to me, or my mind is stressed about this situation going on in the life. So separate the mind from you, because remember, the soul is not stressed or anxious or frustrated or upset. It's the mind that is causing all these problems. Soul is Satchidanand. Soul is eternally joyful. Soul is Anandamayo Bhyasat. It's always in Anand. But this bodily coverings of gross body and subtle body, especially mind, which is included in subtle body, causes a lot of these problems. These emotions that we feel, these sentiments that we feel, come from mind. They are caused by mind. Unnecessary desires, unnecessary emotions, and what else? Unnecessary thoughts, thinking, willing, and feeling. These 3 things are the function of mind. So unnecessary thoughts, unnecessary desires, and unnecessary emotions, they're all caused by mind. So you should separate yourself from the mind and write that this is my mind's problems. These are not my problems. These are my mind's problem. And I told you, you can even give a name to your mind. You can call it something. Like we said, we could call it anything. You can call Kamsa. Kamsa is telling me today that I should be unhappy because this is going on in my life. Kamsa is anxious because I have been diagnosed with this and this medical problem, like that. So separate yourself from the mind. You are not this mind. So when you practice this detachment from the mind, you'll be able to control it more. And remember this, and then the last thing we discussed was that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost, but these principles of Karma Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, all these are used in the practice of Bhakti Yoga. So that's why, because somebody can say, you are saying Bhakti Yoga is topmost, then why do we need to talk about mind control or Karma Yoga? Should we not read the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita or the last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita? Should we not read that chapter on Dhyan Yoga? Yes, we do need to read those because those principles of other yogas are used in Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is topmost and it is all encompassing. It encompasses the principles used in other yoga systems. And the reason Bhakti Yoga is considered topmost and easiest is because there is a direct, because what we're trying to do is establish a direct relationship with the Lord through love and devotion. Through love and service, we are establishing relationship with the Lord. And all of you know this, but the reason we are here in this material world is because of we have forgotten our relationship with the Lord. So by Bhakti Yoga, we are trying to revive that forgotten relationship with the Lord. So it's the best process because when you're directly engaging with the Lord through his names, through his books, through Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, through his devotees, through gurus, through Vaishnavas, through Prasadam, when you're directly engaging with the Lord, then you get his mercy because he's directly participating in your life actually. So you start seeing mercy and reciprocation from Krishna. Devotees will tell you that when they perform this bhakti yoga for some time, they start feeling, they start having realizations that are given directly by Krishna. Actually, they start feeling Krishna's presence in their life. And that is what makes this process easy. So not that, because, somebody can say that "Yeah, I don't mind sitting in dhyan or I don't mind doing Ashtanga yoga. I think I can do them very well." Why does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita those processes are difficult? Those processes are difficult because they're very dry processes. There is no emotions and sentiments involved there. There is no reciprocation involved there. There are no loving exchanges involved there. Because of lack of those heartfelt connections with anything, it's very difficult to maintain on those paths. So karma yoga, ashtanga yoga, jnana yoga, etc. can become very difficult to sustain. It's very difficult to stay on those paths because of no heartfelt connection with anything or anyone. Here there is service to keep us engaged. Here there is there are devotees, there is association, whereas in other paths you're supposed to be in a secluded place, practice on your own, detached from everyone. Whereas as a human we are very social species. We are social animals. So we have this inherent need for love, for exchanges, for communication, for connection. So connection with divinity through bhakti yoga is considered the easiest because this connection goes through connection with his names, connection with his dhams, his temples, his devotees, his representatives like gurus, with his books, with Tulsi Maharani, with so many with his deities. So that type of connection actually ultimately leads to uh, easily we can easily establish connection with the Lord by that process, because it's easy to establish connection with these things during our life. So that's why bhakti yoga is considered the topmost and the easiest. In 6th chapter, last verse, we discussed, Krishna mentions that out of all the yogis, I really think that the best type of yogis are the bhakti yogis. If you all are okay, let's recite that verse. And I'm going to put them on the screen. We are going to recite some verses. So please unmute and recite there on the screen. Yoginamapi sarvesham.
Yoginam api sarvesham.
We can recite together. Madgatenantar atmanam Shraddha
Madgate
bhajate yo
antaratma
mam
Shraddhavan bhajate
bhajate
yoma
yo mam same
Same
yuktatmo
yukta tamo
mata.
mata.
Okay, I guess we'll just do lead and follow for the next one. So you see in this verse, he says, Yoginam api sarvesham. Out of all the yogis, the one who is um, connected to me, who is attached to me through faithful devotional service, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. Those who do my bhajan, Same yuktatma, they are always engaged in my service. In my opinion, my mat or my opinion is that they are the best type of yogis. So in this verse, he declared that. And just prior to this, Arjun had said to Krishna that all these other things you're telling me about, go to a secluded place, give up your family, sit on kusha grass, practice celibacy, control your senses, don't eat, all these things seem very, impractical to me, very hard to me, unsustainable to me. I don't think I can do those things. So Krishna agreed. Yes, I agree that it's very difficult to control the mind, and from these processes, people can fall down actually. So Krishna ultimately says that actually, if you really want to know my heart, then my heart is that out of all the yogis, the best are the bhakti yogis. And so from the next chapter, 7 to 12, Krishna talks about bhakti yoga. So in this way, he gave all these other processes, but then in the middle, he's hiding in the middle of the box. Bhagavad Gita is like a box. The top lid is the first 6 chapters, the bottom lid is the last 6 chapters, and in between is this beautiful diamond ring of Bhakti Yoga. So he says, so then he gives the process of Bhakti Yoga. So we come to chapter 9. In the very beginning, he says, now I've given you a lot of knowledge so far. I have told you about spirit, matter, many things. But now what I'm going to tell you is actually very confidential knowledge. So chapter 9 is called the Raj Vidya, king of all knowledge. Chapter 9 is called king of all knowledge. And he says this process, now Arjun, so you did not like the previous propositions that I had, right? You did not like this process of dhyan, yoga, and mind control, etc. Now the process that I'm going to give you is actually very pleasing, very joyful. Let's recite this. So in 9.2, he says, this process is very pleasing to the soul, very joyful, and it's the king of all knowledge. So let's recite this. Rajavidya Rajaguyam
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
Pavitram idamuttamam
Pavitram idam uttamam
Pratyaksha avagamam dharmyam
Pratyaksha avagamam dharmam
Susukham kartum avyayam
Susukham kartam avyayam.
So he says, I'm now giving you the king of all knowledge and the most confidential secret. People don't know this about Bhagavad Gita. Most of the people, if you like, let's say you go to India, you ask about what is the sar of Bhagavad Gita, they will just say, karm karo fal ki ichha mat karo. That's the only sar they know. But actually, Krishna says, this is the most confidential knowledge. This that I'm going to give you now. Why? Because this knowledge, this process that Krishna is now going to give, this is a process of heart. When you start applying it, the knowledge will come in the heart. Knowledge will be revealed within the heart. So he says this knowledge is most auspicious and it is topmost, uttamam. And you can realize this knowledge by applying it in your life. This is evidence-based knowledge. You can apply it and you can see the results. That's why it's a book of science, because you apply and you see the results. You do this experiment and you will see the results. And you will see that it's done very sukhpurvak, joyfully. So it's done very joyfully. So this process, unlike the other processes that I mentioned, is actually very happily performed by the devotees. and it is everlasting. You will get everlasting results. So that is bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga is a process of, you know, connecting with the Lord through love, invoking our finding the divine love within our heart. And when you invoke that divine love, when you find that divine love, actually all the other things become possible too, because love with your love with your loved ones, with your relatives, with your friends, love for the country, love for the community, love for other people, all that will automatically come if you connect with the source of that divine love. If you connect with the source, because Krishna is the source of all love. If you dip into the source of that original love, then all these other things will happen. So then we don't have to try so hard with these other things. But if you go the other way, you try to improve your relationships without Krishna in the center, then it will not work out. But if you keep Krishna in the center, then all the other things will work out. So that's why this process is so, it's easy and it's topmost, because it makes everything else possible. So people that practice bhakti yoga actually get the benefit of all the other yogas. They're able to do their actions, or karma yoga also, successfully. They're able to do their action with the intention to please Krishna. They are able to align their desires with Krishna. They are able to forget about the outcome and just work with energy and vigor to please Krishna. They work wholeheartedly, right? So all those things that without Krishna are not possible now become possible. So once you add Krishna in life, his love in your life, then karma yoga, dhyan yoga, mind control becomes possible. Good character comes, good qualities come, everything. So then Krishna gives the process of bhakti yoga. What should you do in bhakti yoga? So he says, this is what you should do. He says, this is the middle verse of Bhagavad Gita. In the entire Bhagavad Gita, this is the middle verse. So there are 700 verses total. This is the center verse. Let's recite this. Satatam kirtayanto mam
Satatam kirtayanto mam
yatantascha dridvrata
yatantascha dhritvarta
Namastyantascha mam bhaktya,
namastantyas
mam bhaktya,
mam bhaktya
nityayukta upasate, nityayukta
nityayukta
upasate.
upasate.
So this is the process of bhakti yoga. He says, do satatam kirtan, do my kirtan, my bhajan, my glorification and chanting of names, my kirtan every day, satatam, all the time. And yatan karo uske liye. So with determination, dridavrat hoke, make an effort with determination. Pay obeisances to me, namasyantash. So my devotees, they respectfully pay obeisances to me, and nitya yukta upasate, and they worship me every day. So engage in his devotional service with effort, with determination, and perpetually worship me, he says. So this is the process. So that's why we chant every day, and we engage in various aspects of devotional service every day. Then he says, practice ananya bhakti. So he's giving us the process of bhakti. He's saying, do this bhakti with ananya bhav. Ananya means exclusive devotion towards me. Don't get distracted by other Devi Devtas and things. So he gives in chapter 9, he actually talks about other demigod worship also. In chapter 7 also he talks, but in chapter 9 also, that if you just do my worship, then you will come to me and I will carry what you lack and preserve what you have. So whatever other things you were not able to do, you were not able to control your mind, you were not able to give up the results of your action, you were not able to focus on the process of action, you were not able to chant properly, you were not able to develop good qualities, all those things, I will make those things happen. I will carry what you lack. So, but do exclusive devotion. Don't go here and there. Okay, I am the source. So just come to the source, the fountainhead of everything. So he says, let's recite this very beautiful verse. This is one of my favorite verses actually. Ananyas chintayanto maam, ananyas
Ananyas
Chintayanto
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 mam
maam, ye jana paryupasate,
ye jana
jana
paryupasate
tesham nityabhyuktanam,
tesham nityabhyuktanam
Yogakshemam vahamyaham.
yogakshemam vahamyaham.
So he says, those people that worship me with ananya bhav se jo mera chintan karte hain, ye jana paryupasate. Tesham, to those people, I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So you see in this, I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So whatever good qualities and everything that you have, I will preserve them. I'll carry what you lack and the things that you don't have. So your weaknesses, I will carry, and your strengths, I will preserve. So we all have some weaknesses and strength, and Krishna says, I will preserve your strength uh, and overcome your weaknesses, your limitations. So exclusive bhav say every day. So before he said satatam kirtayanto mam, now he said ananyas chintayanto mam. Then this is very beautiful verse. This is so wonderful that Krishna actually says this twice in Bhagavad Gita. So he says, this is what you need to do every day. What should you do every day? Manmana bhava madbhakto, manmana
Manmana bhava madbhakto,
Madbhakto
madhyaji mam namaskuru,
madhyaji mam namaskuru,
namaskaru
Mame vashyasi yukvevam, mame vashyasi
Mamevashi
yukvevam,
Yuktevam
Atmanam matparayana, Atmanam
atmanam
matparayana.
matparayana.
So Krishna says, Manmana. So always always think about me. Bhav mad bhakto, become my devotee. Okay. Madhyaji, do my worship. Mam namaskuru, pay obeisances to me. Mame vashyasi, you will definitely come back to me. You will definitely come back to me. Because I guarantee you, because to those people who are my parayan, जो मेरे लिए allegiant हैं, those who are allegiant to me, I will take them back to me. I will bring them back to me. So they will definitely come back to me. Mam evashyasi. So in this way, Krishna then says, and so this chapter 9 and 10 are very beautiful, especially chapter 9, because Krishna really reveals his heart to Arjun. He really tells Arjun that how much I care about my devotees, how much love I have for them, how if they take shelter of me and stop going here and there, I will take care of them. I'm not envious of them, and I am a friend to them. So in this one verse, he says, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I'm equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend in me, and I'm also a friend to him. So whoever renders service to me, I become their friend because that person is trying to establish a relationship with me. So bhakti yoga means trying to establish a relationship with Krishna. So those people that are trying to establish a relationship with me, they always think of me and I always think of them. So this is the best relationship to try to revive. We pay so much attention to our relationships in this world, which is good. We should. They are the relationships given by Lord, but his relationship is everlasting. It's eternal. He does not give up on us even when we are atheists. He still resides within the heart of atheists also, within the heart of demoniacs also. He goes with us life after life. All our other relationships will not go with us anywhere. They are just temporary in this life related to this body. But Krishna actually goes with us everywhere, from life after life, into different species also, into different planets also. So then comes 10th chapter, Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. I'll try to go a little fast. So Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, those who don't know what that is, the whole essence of Bhagavad Gita is given in these 4 verses in chapter 10. Okay, chapter 10 has 4 verses, 8, 9, 10, and 11 that are called Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. In 4 verses, it's the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So this is the process of Bhakti Yoga that you can see on the screen, and Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita gives that process. Okay. So if nothing else, please pay attention to this. What is Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita tells us? So the first thing, in order to establish a relationship, so Bhakti Yoga means we are trying to establish relationship with Krishna. In order to establish a relationship with Krishna, we need to know about that person. So that is called Sambandh Gyan. So the first verse of Chaturshloki, 10.8, gives us the Sambandh Gyan. Who is Krishna and what is our relationship with him? Then we follow a process. Once we know who this person is, then in order to establish a relationship, we follow a process. So that's called abhidaya. Okay, following a process. And then prayojan means to achieve the goal, to achieve the outcome or the goal of that process. You can think about it like when you were, let's say, when you were getting married, you found a suitable match for yourself. So then that you start finding about them. What do they do? What are their hobbies, what are their habits, where did they come from, what kind of family, what was their upbringing, all these things, what languages do they speak, what kind of food do they eat. So you try to find out about that person. That's called sambandh. Abhiday is then you follow a process. So then you will go through proper channel and you will try to establish a relationship with them. So that's the process, right? You will tell your parents, you will approach that person, or whatever. You will make some connection with them. That's Abhiday. And then the final outcome is then that you get married, you finally do develop a connection with them, you achieve their, receive their love, and you're together now. So that's prayojan. So when you're together with the Lord, that's prayojan. That's the final outcome. So these are the 4 verses. We should recite these 4 verses if you're all okay. And this is the chapter 10, a very beautiful chapter. Okay, let's recite these. Chapter 10.8, verse 10.8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo
Aham sarvasya
सर्वस्य
prabhu.
प्रभवो
matta sarvam pravartate matta
Matta
sarvam
sarvam
pravartate
pravartate
iti matva bhajante mam iti
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 matva
matva
bhajante
bhajante
mam
mam
buddha bhava samanvita
Buddha
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 bhava.
bhava
bhava
samanvita.
samanvita.
So Krishna says, I am the Lord of everyone. Sarvas, I am your Lord. I am the Supreme Lord. I am everybody's Lord. Everything. So this is the sambandh. He's telling us, I am your Supreme Lord. Everything comes from me. Everything that you see in this world comes from me. Knowing this, intelligent people know this. Intelligent people know that their relationship with me, their sambandh with me. And knowing that they embark on this journey of bhakti yoga, of this bhajan kriya, they start doing my worship. They engage in bhakti yoga, knowing their relationship with me. And what is your relationship with me? That I am the origin, the creator, the fountainhead, the source of all sources, the cause of all causes. That's who I am. So you should come back to me. And knowing this, intelligent people will develop their connection with me. Then he says, so Abhiday, what is the process to establish that connection? He says in the next verse, Machchitta madgat parana, Machchitta
चित्ता मद्गता प्राणा
bodhyanta parasparam, bodhyanta
Bodhyata
parasparam,
parasparam.
katyantascha mam nityam, katyantascha mam nityam,
Nityam.
नित्यं
tushyanti cha ramanti cha, tushyanti cha
दुष्यन्ति च
ramanti
रमन्ति
cha.
Anti cha.
So he says, this is the process. Matchit. Now look at Prabhupada's genius. Prabhupada has taken this word matchit keeps coming. If you now read Bhagavad Gita carefully, this word comes over and over again in Bhagavad Gita. Matchit. Chit means consciousness. So keep me in your consciousness always, or focus on me. Matchit. Krishna consciousness. So matchit means my consciousness or Krishna consciousness. This is how this word comes. Matchit. So keep me in your consciousness. Madgat parana. Always, engage your whole life, your life here in me. So spend all your time in me. Bodhyanta parasparam. Talk about me with each other. Parasparam, with each other, like we are talking about him. Kathyantascha mam nityam. Always do my katha with each other. Always teach about me, always educate about me, always discuss about me. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. In this way, you will feel bliss and you will feel pleasure and you will be completely satisfied. So he says this is such a nice, satisfying process that you will feel bliss and satisfaction if you engage your consciousness in me, if you become Krishna conscious by talking about me, by engaging your life in me, by discussing, teaching, educating each other about me. And he says this is a very blissful, satisfying process. So this is the process that satisfies the soul and Bhagwan both. Other processes fail to do that. They are very difficult and they do not satisfy either the soul completely or Bhagwan completely. So that's the process. Then he says, why is this process, again, why is this so easy? He says, why is this easy? Let me tell you. So let's read. Tesham satat yuktanam, Tesham
Tesha
satat
satata
yuktanam,
yuktanam.
Bhajtam priti purvakam, Bhajtam
Bhajatam
priti
priti
purvakam,
Purvakam.
purvakam.
Dadami buddhi yogam tam.
Dadami buddhi yogam tam.
Yena mam upayanti te. Yena mam
Yena mam
upayanti te.
upayanti te.
So Krishna says, in this way, those people that are always engaged in me, satat yuktanam, they're always connected to me in this way. Okay, talking about me, discussing about me, worshipping me, doing my bhajan kriya. Those people that are satat yuktanam, always engaged, and doing my worship with preeti, with love, preeti purvakam, that are doing my bhajan. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will give them the intelligence by which they can come back to me. Yen mam upyantite. I will give them the intelligence by which they will come back to me. So it's not all by your effort. Okay, karma yoga, ashtanga yoga, all these things are by your effort. Here, Krishna says, I will give you the, just like before, he said, I carry what you lack. So when you establish relationship with him, you make one step towards him, and Krishna will come running 1,000 steps towards you. So you will start seeing this in your life, that reciprocations will start coming from Krishna as soon as you start. It's not even tat kshanat. Bhagavatam says tat kshanat. As soon as you start the process, Krishna's reciprocation will come. So dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will give you the intelligence by which you will come back to me. And then he says, the last thing he says, Teshameva anukampartham, Teshameva anukampartham, Aham agyanam jamtama, Nashyami atma bhavasto, Nashyami atma bhavasto, Jnanadipena bhasvata, Jnanadipena
Na
bhasvata.
Bhasvata.
He says, those people, Tesham, to those people, my anukampa or my mercy will be revealed. So remember, I told you Bhakti Yoga is topmost and easiest because Krishna's mercy, Krishna's reciprocations and realizations are there in this process. He says, my anukampa will be available to those people. And I will destroy their agyan, the darkness of their ignorance. Agyan jamtam. Tama means darkness. Agyan means ignorance. So darkness of their ignorance will be destroyed by me. Aham. Nashyami atma bhavasto. And I will destroy all this by lighting the lamp of knowledge within. So in this way, they will get my mercy. They will come back to me, he says. I will give them all the knowledge from within their heart. So that's why it is said, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. Divya Gyan bahar se nahi aata, Divya Gyan Hriday mein aata hai. Hriday mein prakashit kiya jata hai. So it's not somebody is very intelligent, somebody is very smart. They can read Sanskrit and stuff, so they'll just get the knowledge automatically. This knowledge is given by following the process. And Krishna says, if you follow this process of Satat Yuktanam and Bhajitam Priti Purvakam, then those people get the knowledge. I give them the knowledge from within the heart. It's not like just by reading you will get the knowledge. It's not like a textbook, material book of medical science or these type of other sciences. This knowledge is revealed from within the heart, and by that knowledge you will be able to come back to me. So when Arjun hears this in the next, these were the 4 verses, 8 to 11. Then in the verse 12 and 13, this is very wonderful. I love these 2 verses because Arjun is now completely, it's mind blowing. He's like blown away. He's so overcome. His eyes are open wide and he says, "Oh Krishna, what did you tell me? I did not realize that you, my friend, my loving friend, the person that I thought was my friend, is actually the Supreme Lord. He's the source of everything. He's the cause of everything." And so he says, please recite. He says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashwatam Divyam, Purusham Shashwatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve, Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve, Devrishir Naradastatha, Devrishir Naradastatha, Asito Devalo Vyasa, Asito Devalo Vyasa, Swayam Chaiva Bravishi Me, Swayam
Swayam Shaiva Bravishi Me.
I will finish in next 10 minutes, I promise. But I think this is the main thing that we have to read. Next, we will quickly go through. But this is where Arjun says that you are the supreme personality of Godhead. So first of all, he says you are supreme. Param means supreme. You are supreme Brahm, supreme Dham. You are the supreme abode, the ultimate abode, ultimate person, ultimate. You are the most pure, most auspicious. Okay. And you are Purush. So you are supreme. So in the first line, he says you are supreme. Then he says you are Purusham. You are the personality. You are a person. Okay, you're not just Brahma Jyoti or just some light or just some vast space or something or some darkness. You are actually a person. Purusham. Shashvatam Divyam. You are a Divya Purush. You are the original Adi Devam. You are the source of everything. So you are Godhead. You are the source of all devas. You are Adi Devam. So this is where comes the term, because Prabhupada uses these terms like Krishna consciousness or Supreme Personality of Godhead. And these terms are all taken from Bhagavad Gita. Everything that Prabhupada says, every single thing is coming from our scriptures. So you see that here he says you're supreme, then he says you're Purusham, personality, and then then he says you're Godhead, you're Adi Devam. You are the fountainhead or the Godhead. You are the origin of all the gods. So you are the topmost God. There are other Ishwaras, but you are the Maheshwar, you are the Godhead. And everybody used to say this, Arjun says. Everybody used to say this. Dev Rishi Narad used to say, Asit used to say, Vyasa used to say, Devala used to say, all these rishis he's naming, these great sages, great personalities, told me that you are the original supreme person, the purest, the supreme abode, the ultimate Godhead, absolute truth, Param Satya. I did not believe that. But now, Swayam Chaiva Bravishi me, now you're telling it to me yourself that you are the supreme personality of Godhead. So Arjun now knows that his friend that's driving his chariot is none other than the Supreme Lord himself, and it's his desire that he should fight. So then Krishna says in 11th chapter, he even shows Arjun his universal form, and then he says, in the end, he says, I want you to do what I want. Mat karma krit, do my will, my service. My devotees do these 5 things. So please, this verse 11.55, this verse is so wonderful. Like one day we can have a whole session on just this verse. And it's a very understated verse because it's not discussed very commonly. But this verse gives us what Krishna wants us to do. Mat karma krit. He says, do my work. Remember we talked about doing Krishna's will, doing my wish. So do my work. Mat karma krit. Because if you're a servant, you will do master's work, right? So mat karma krit. If you're a child, you will do your parents' will. So mat karma krit. Mat parmo. Always remember that I'm supreme. So don't go here and there for different deities and different demigods to fulfill your own wishes and your own desires, your own concocted desires. No, fulfill my desire, work for me. Mat parmo, remember that I am the supreme. Mat bhakta, become my devotee. So do my worship basically. Sangha varjita, give up the sangha of ordinary people or mundane people in this world. People that are too absorbed in this world, give up their sangha. Or this sangha can refer to the sangha of matter. Give up the sangha of this material world. So stay in the company of like-minded people, of spiritualists, advanced people. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu. And yet, doing all this, be equipoised to all living entities. Be friendly to all living entities. Nirvaira, be nirvair to all living entities. And such a person who do these things, yasa mam eti pandava. O Pandav, that person will achieve me. Yasa mam eti, will reach me. So this is our, Sambandh Abhidey Gyan. This is just something to show you that Arjuna also asks Krishna very categorically in chapter 12, the first verse. Arjuna asks Krishna, I know that I should worship you. Should I worship your personal form or should I worship on your impersonal aspect, Brahman, or on your personal form? Krishna says both are okay, but worshipping on my personal form is the best. Because that's where you can have proper relationship with me. You can engage in my worship. You can Brahman ko, how can you pay obeisances? What kind of service you can do? Not much you can do. So that path will be very difficult. So actually, worship my personal form. Meditating on my personal form is the best. So he, in chapter 12, again, he reinforces this fact because Prabhupada keeps talking about personal form right from the very get-go of Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna says that those people that engage in my personal worship are very dear to me. You can see in this verse, those who worship me, give up their activities unto me, they are devoted to me without deviation, engage in devotional service and meditating upon me with their minds focused upon me. I swiftly deliver them from the ocean of birth and death. So, and then last chapter, chapter 18, I have skipped chapter 16, 17 and all because they talk about the three modes or this material world. But coming back to Bhakti Yoga, Krishna says ultimately in the last few verses of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, Krishna says that only my devotees can really know me. All these other people, by their mental speculation, their logics, their rationales, their intellect, they can, the scientists and all, many philosophers, they can try to understand me, but without devotional service, no one can really understand me. I reveal myself only to my devotees. Because remember, Krishna said that I'm friendly to my devotees, I'm merciful to my devotees, I have loving exchanges with my devotees. So to them, I reveal the knowledge. So to them, I reveal myself. Just like us, we don't reveal our heart, we don't share our confidences, our heart with just any Ara Gera, Tom, Dick, or Harry. We share our heart with only people that we are friendly with, people that are not envious to us. So devotees are not envious of me, whereas the mental speculators, all these people that are trying to control this world, that are trying to rule this world, they're actually very envious of the Lord. They're not trying to be servant, they're trying to be lords, they're trying to be these miniature lords and rulers of this world. They cannot understand me because they're envious of me. I do not reveal myself to them. So Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati, Bhaktya mam abhijanati,
Abhijanati
Yavan yaschashmi tatvata, Yavan
Yavan
yaschashmi
Tatvata
Tatvata
Tato mam tatvato gyatva, tato
Tato
mam
Tato Mam
tatvato
Tatvato
gyatva,
Gyata
vishte tad anantaram.
Vishte Tadanantaram.
He says,
Anantaram.
Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only my devotee can know me as I am. To those I reveal myself. Nobody else can know me. So then he says, even though you're engaged in all kind of activities, we are also engaged in many activities, right? But my pure devotee under my protection. So devotees are always under protection of Krishna. They reach the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. So by his mercy, remember his grace is included in Bhakti Yoga. So by my grace, they can reach this eternal and imperishable abode, even though they're engaged in all kinds of activities in this world, but they're under my protection. They're under my guidance. Then he says, in all activities, just depend on me. You see the word Machitta, I highlighted this in these two verses. Again, Machitta word comes. Krishna consciousness. He says, my consciousness of. He says, he says in 57, he says, just work under my protection and Machitta, always be fully conscious of me. Machitta Satatam Bhava, always be Krishna conscious. This is what all our senior devotees always tell us, right? Always be Krishna conscious. Machitta satatam bhava. Krishna is also saying, always be Krishna, be conscious of me. Machitta sarva durgani. So then he says, if you're in my consciousness, you will overcome all the obstacles. Durg hota hai fort. So this world is compared to a fort, or a prison. So you will overcome this world, this prison, this fort by staying in my consciousness. So if we are in Krishna consciousness, we can overcome the obstacles of this world. Various problems might come, difficulties might come, but he says, Mat prasada tarishyasi. By my grace, you will overcome them. Tar jaoge. So by my prasad, you will overcome all the obstacles. Atchetvam ahankaran. But if you act out of false ego, okay? So if you are in my consciousness, you will overcome all the obstacles and limitations of this world. But if you act out of ahankar means act out of false ego, act out of lordship, not in service mentality, but out of lordship mentality, false ego. Na shroshyasi vinangshasi, then you will be lost. If you don't listen to me, na shroshyasi, Shravan means to hear. If you do not hear to me, if you don't hear me, don't, parents bolte hain na, if you don't listen to me. So Krishna is also saying, if you do not listen to me and act out of false ego. So basically false ego meaning not acting out of your proper position, acting like a lord when you are a servant. So जैसे हम बच्चों को बोलते हैं कि बच्चा बन के रहो, don't try to act smart with me. So if you try to act out of false ego, do not listen to me, vinangshasi, you will be lost. Then you will be entangled in the cycle of birth and death and lost in this world and lost in all its problems and obstacles and up and down the species you will be circulating. So act according to my will and my act for me. Then in the end, he gives his last instruction, which was, please let's recite these two verses, the concluding verses of Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava madbhakto, manmana bhava madbhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru, madhyaji
Madhyajimam namaskaru.
mam evashyasi satyam te, mam
Mam
evashyasi
evashi satyam te.
prati jane priyosi me, prati jane.
Prati jane priyosime.
If you notice, this verse came again, right? But just the last few words are different.
Last, yes.
So
That,
remember, we just
satyam te is different and prati jane priyosime is different.
yeah. So before Krishna was saying, worship me and you will do all these things, right? And you will mame vashyasi, you will definitely come to me. Now he says, I promise. He's like, he's so desperately telling Arjuna, just हम किसी अपने friend को किसी को convince कर रहे हैं. I promise to you this will happen. Please do this. He's promising. Mame vashyasi, you will definitely come to me. Satyam te, I promise you this is true. Satyam. Prati jane priyosi me, because you are very dear to me. You are my dear friend. So Krishna, so it's amazing. Krishna keeps establishing this relationship over and over again with Arjun. And, through Arjun, it means us, because when he's talking to Arjun, he's talking to all of us. So he says, you are my very dear friend. So believe me, trust me. I promise you, if you do this, you will come back to me. So he says, forget about everything. Then he says, forget about everything. Let go of everything that you have learned so far in this life. Whatever this world has taught you, whatever lies and misconceptions this world has taught you, whatever the purpose the world has taught you, that this is your purpose, this is how you should act, you should try to achieve this or that in this world. So many things we have grown up learning, that we have to become the topmost, the best, or the achieve this and that in this world. Ek hi zindagi hai, zindagi milegi na dobara. So many things we have, false training that this world has given. Forget all of that, then he says, and just surrender unto me. Okay, just trust me, just trust this knowledge that I'm giving you, and I will take care of you, he says. I'll deliver you from everything. All the previous impious actions, whatever bad things have happened in the past, I will deliver you from everything. Just let go of all of that and just come to me. So he says, Sarva dharman parityaja
Sarvadharma parityajya
mamekam sharanam vraja.
Mamekam
mamekam
sharanam
sharanam
praja.
praja.
Aham tvam sarva papebhyo
Aham tvam sarva papebhyo
mokshayishami ma shucha.
mokshayami ma sucha.
So he's personally taking, all the responsibility on him. Imagine this person who showed his universal form, his Kal Roop, very ferocious form he showed to Arjuna in chapter 11. This person who says, I'm the cause of all causes, I'm the supreme controller, I'm the Maheshwar. He says, I'm the uh, controller of everything, I'm the maintainer, I'm the annihilator, I'm the destroyer of everything. That supreme person, all the wealth in this world belongs to me, all the beauty belongs to me, all the love, all the strength, everything belongs to me, right? All the ability that you have, all the ability, anything that a man has, anything in this world has, comes from me. He showed all his opulences. That person is now telling Arjuna, or telling us, that Ma Shucha, do not worry. He said, do not worry. जैसे हम बोलते हैं अपने किसी को, don't worry. He's saying, Ma Shucha, do not fear, don't worry. Just leave it up to me and I will take care of everything. So why do we need to worry? We just leave everything up to him and we just have to follow this process. So that's the process of bhakti yoga, where once we start, it's we start seeing Krishna's mercy, his grace, his prasad, his reciprocation. The knowledge starts coming. All these other things that other yogas cannot achieve by themselves, bhakti yoga can quickly, one can quickly achieve. So that's the process of bhakti yoga. And you see, this is the yoga ladder. Karma yoga is the bottommost. Here only detachment only detachment comes. With Gyan Yoga, you get detachment and knowledge. In Ashtanga Yoga, you practice detachment, knowledge, and meditation on the Paramatma. In Bhakti Yoga, all these things are already included. There is detachment. There is Krishna will give detachment from this world. Krishna will give detachment from the mind and body and matter. Krishna will give a detachment from the results of our actions. He gives all the knowledge. You just read that. He lets you control he will carry what you lack. So he will not allow you to get distracted, because he's so beautiful. He makes it easy to focus on his names. If we are genuine, if we are sincerely practicing, he makes meditation also possible. But the ultimate thing is that there is love in Bhakti Yoga, which is missing, the main ingredient which is missing in all the other yogas. So we establish the relationship of love with the Supreme Person, Adi Devam, Ajam Vibhum, that Parameshwar Bhagavan, we establish a relationship with him in love. So that's the book of Bhagavad Gita that gives you all the processes. Krishna shows his heart reveals his heart to Arjun. He tells us about his relationship with us, the process that we have to follow, the conclusion. A sense of all scriptures is in Bhagavad Gita. Plus, it gives you knowledge of various qualities to develop, the character to develop, how to live in this world, various types of people that are there, what type of food to eat. Krishna talks about what type of food to eat, what type of speech, how to speak, or how to conduct ourselves, how to conduct with this body. All these things he teaches in Bhagavad Gita. So even worldly things he teaches in Bhagavad Gita. So many leadership skills, business skills, many motivational things. He also speaks in Bhagavad Gita. So this is this beautiful book, more than 5,000 years old, but the knowledge is eternal. 700 verses, 18 chapters, 5 main topics, and 3 main yoga paths are given, and the one goal, and the goal is love of Supreme Lord. This is very famous philosopher who said, I owed a magnificent day to Bhagavad Gita. It was the first of books. It was as if an empire spoke to us, nothing small or unworthy, but large, serene, consistent, the voice of an old intelligence, which in another age and climate had pondered and thus disposed of the same questions which exercises. So people are thinking about these questions, great thinkers, philosophers, but all those answers are in the Bhagavad Gita. I'll stop here. Thank you so much for patiently listening. Sorry for going over time. I wanted to introduce the Bhagavad Gita to all of you who have not read and who have read too. Just wanted to revise and revisit it again. Let's hear some realizations, any questions, comments, please share. Hare Krishna.
And the verse 18.66, Sarvadharma Parityajya, it kind of summarizes everything, like give up all the engagements and surrender unto me, and you will come to me. It kind of, all the chapters, topics kind of says everything in that last verse, I feel.
Yes, Mataji. It's the conclusive verse of Bhagavad Gita.
It's my favorite verse.
Yes, we both. Anybody else wants to share?
Mataji, I just want to share. So what I like from the Bhagavad Gita is there's always, there's several places Krishna says Nitya, Nityashaha, then Satatam, then Eva, Mama Eva, Ananya, Ekam. So these are very important. And Mamesha, Mamai, Vesham, Mama. So those are the things that I catch, because I don't have to go anywhere else. So these are the important ones, I think. Nityam means we have to constantly do it. Satatam means every time. Eva means mama eva, means don't deviate. Ananya means Ananya Bhakti, means only Radha Krishna, right? No, nobody else. Ekam, and then yeah, so those are the ones that I like from Bhagavad Gita. That's all I want to share.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Krishna keeps saying, so he's not saying somebody else. He says, Mam ekam sharanam braja. Only my Sharan, not this person or that person. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Haribol. Anybody else? Vidushi Mataji? Or Nirmala Mataji? And thank you. Nidhi, Didi, thank you for joining today. I think I'm seeing you for the first time in our class. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great. I joined late, but whatever I could hear was very insightful. And I'm thinking blessed to be there on this auspicious day of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for including me.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Yes, I completely agree with what she just said. Mataji just said. It's auspicious day to hear the Bhagavad Gita. Just beautiful blessing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I hope in coming years you will all go deeper into the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, start memorizing some verses also, and start applying. Most important is applying. So Bhagavad Gita is, often compared to like a cookbook. It's not enough to just read the cookbook. You have to cook the recipes. So the recipe that Krishna has given of Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, or Mat Chitta Mad Gat Parana, right? Or Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto. All these recipes, this is the recipe. So now we have to apply it in our life and cook the recipe and relish the taste. So the taste will come. So it's purifying to read it and hear it, but it's more auspicious, more purifying to actually apply it in our life and live our life according to the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Because that's when actually the mercy starts coming in. So reading is good, but applying it is much more important. Okay, Nagarjan Prabhu, you want to share something?
Hare Krishna. No, don't have much to share. Thank you very much, and appreciate discussing Bhagavad Gita today on this auspicious day of Ekadashi and Bhagavad Gita Jayanti. I hope and pray that I may be able to continue reading, following, and may be able to apply more and more concepts from Bhagavad Gita in my life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Gita Jayanti Mahamahotsav ki jai. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna.